How are you, Apurva? Good afternoon.
Sir, I'm fine.
Apurva, have you taken your vaccine?
Sir, I have scheduled for 2nd of June.
Okay. Okay, Apurva, the country is engulfed in the second wave, right? What do you think? Where the government went wrong with respect to handling of the second wave?
Sir, I believe the second wave was unprecedented in nature. So
Hmm.
uh, there has so it could not have been uh, the government could not have prepared for the extreme nature of the wave beforehand. However, sir, if we can point out what some challenges the government could have done better, would have been, especially in the communication aspect,
Hmm.
about the COVID appropriate behavior, which was missing from the people's side. And also, sir, government could have worked more on removing vaccine hesitancy
Hmm.
and putting putting across a guideline so that influential people could not use vetted interest for increasing vaccine hesitancy among people. There and in several states, the COVID centers which were created for the first wave were dismantled. That should have not been done. So I
Hmm.
believe these three, four areas where government could have definitely done better.
Okay, Apurva, consider that you are in charge of a district which is suffering severely due to the pandemic. People are not following the COVID guidelines that have been released by the district administration. What will you do? Take one step. What will be your first step under such circumstances?
So for not when people are not following COVID appropriate behavior, the first step would be to make sure that they do, and this could be done with the help of proper information mechanism and through use of entertainment, through use of celebrities. So these people could be utilized in giving across the message, which was seen in the first wave. The
Hmm.
call by Prime Minister himself made people more aware about the disease. So, sir, on the information aspect, I would definitely would like to work better in the district so that people follow the COVID protocols and take the virus seriously.
Apurva, are you aware of the PM Cares Fund?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell me what is the mandate of that fund?
Sir, it was established last year, and
Hmm.
it takes up voluntary donations from organizations and from individuals.
Hmm.
And sir, it has been exempted from the ambit of any tax. And sir, it is out of the purview of RTI.
Okay. Now, some people feel that the PM Cares Fund is not an ethical move. What is your take on that?
Sir, I would beg to differ with that opinion. I do
Hmm.
not think that is it is unethical in any way or form. In
Hmm.
fact, it lots of people voluntarily at individual level contributed to the PM care funds, and that proceeds have been utilized by the government in providing essential medical supplies to the hospitals. So
Hmm.
I would say that it has helped the country in the time of need, and it is ethical in my opinion.
Apurva, tell me three values that you hold very dear, which you are not willing to sacrifice under any given circumstances.
So first value which I hold dear to me is integrity.
Hmm.
Sir, I believe integrity is the most crucial form for a person to
Hmm.
go forward in life. Otherwise, a person becomes a doormat for others.
Hmm.
So, secondly, the value which I hold dear is compassion and empathy. I'm driven
Hmm.
by that. I could
Hmm.
empathize with people, I could work for people.
Hmm.
So, thirdly, I believe the value which I hold is the value of having equanimity, of having calm and composure, and
Hmm.
not lose balance in the face of victory or in the face of defeat.
Hmm.
I believe these are essential values.
Apurva, tell me one incident from your life where you exhibited integrity, empathy, or compassion, or any of the other values that you have just mentioned?
Sir, the value of integrity, I I showcased when in the third semester in the mathematics paper, I got 44 marks out of 50 in the end semester examination. However, when I rechecked my paper, it was 41 marks. So that could have very well landed me to B grade. But I thought that it was not right to get the marks which I didn't deserve. It was a calculation error by the professor. So I promptly got it corrected.
Mm.
So secondly, with regard to compassion, sir, I have been driven by that emotion. I have tried to make people aware of the many things related to inequalities uh,
Mm.
towards certain sections of society for which we may be ignorant. So I
Mm.
try to make sure that people are aware of that.
Mm.
And so, thirdly, with related to equanimity,
Mm.
sir, I do not get carried away in
Mm.
any moment. Even when I clear the exam, even when I do not clear the exam, I try to maintain a proper calm and composed behavior.
Okay, Apurva, you come from Prayagraj,
Yes, sir.
and your address reads something like Rajapur.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell us something about how this place got its name, Rajapur?
Sir, it is a locally given name, and nothing peculiar related to it has come to my knowledge as of now.
Are you sure that no historical personality has any relation with this place?
Sir, as far as my knowledge goes, I'm not sure. I would definitely try to find more about it.
Okay. Uh, your ancestral district is Gorakhpur.
Yes, sir.
Now, uh, tell me something that is found in Gorakhpur that can be made as the focal point in the Atmanirbhar Bharat campaign. Have you heard about the term vocal for local?
Yes, sir.
What is that one product, good, or service that can be made as the focal point as far as Gorakhpur is concerned if we want to propagate the idea there, vocal for local?
Sir, two things come to my mind at this
Mhm.
point for which Gorakhpur is famous. The first is the terracotta products of Gorakhpur, which are very famous, and they are also being taken into one district, one product program of the state government. And so,
Mhm.
secondly, definitely Gita Press Gorakhpur and
Mhm.
the religious books which it sends out could be,
Mhm.
although it is really famous, but it could be more commercialized in that.
Uh, Apurva, you have done engineering
Yes, sir.
in electronics and telecommunications, yes?
Yes, sir.
And in your educational institutions that you have gone through, there is one institution which has the name of Chhatrapati Sahuji Maharaj.
Yes, sir.
Purva, don't you think that historians in this country have been unjust to the Maratha legacy, especially when it relates to Shivaji Maharaj and Sahuji Maharaj? Not enough pages in the history books have been dedicated to these great heroes. What is your take?
So certainly, those leaders have been confined to the regional nature. In Maharashtra area, the, the legacy of Maratha Empire is very well celebrated, but however, sir, on the national scale, it is found missing. So certainly there is an element of truth to it that they have not been given the just stage in the national curriculum, which should be duly recognized.
Apurva, do you admire Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj?
Yes, sir.
What do you like in him?
Sir, the foremost thing that I like about him is his assertive nature.
Hmm.
Even when there was no concept of, even when people were under a tyrannical rule, he
Hmm.
made sure that people assert their ideas, their identity. And sir, to me, he was very courageous at that point. He was an able administrator who
Mm.
coordinated with people, made sure that they found uh, a voice for Hindavi Swaraj, and which he established during his lifetime.
Okay. Your optional subject is geography.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell me that what are the contributions of Immanuel Kant to geography?
Sir, Kant's contribution to geography relates specifically to recognizing the human geographical element also, and his contribution are also there in physical geography, where he has given hypothesis related to the formation of the earth. And sir, he makes a distinction that there is a special geography and there is a general geography. So
Mm.
special geography which deals with areas and its feature in particular, and
Mm.
general geography which deal uh, with one feature for the whole area. So these were his contributions in the field of geography.
This distinction between special geography and general geography, does this flow from Kantian ideas or is it something which was given by Bernard Varenius?
Yes, sir. The starting was from Varenius. Even Kant made a distinction about it. So
Mhm.
that was, and sir, it
Okay.
further continued.
But do you
However,
see any parallel between Frederick Ratzel's views and Malthus' views, Thomas Malthus' views? Any parallels between their views?
sir, sir, I cannot relate as of now views because I'm unable to link the two as of now.
What is the core idea of that has been proposed by Frederick Ratzel?
So the core idea of Retzel was that state is a living organism, and
Mm.
it has its need. It expands.
Mm.
It encompasses territories within it to
Mm.
to maintain its supremacy. Yeah, he was a political geographer who believed in determinist nature. He was
Mm.
influenced by the ideas of Darwin. And
Mm.
sir, in one way, we can say that Malthus as well was
Mm.
deterministic in nature, given that he believed that one day the the population will not have enough food to survive and it will run its course. So I believe, sir, in terms of determinism, we could see some
Mm.
parallels. However, I cannot exactly pinpoint as of now.
Do you see any practical application of Ratzelian ideas today in the present context?
Yes, sir, Redsel's idea of often all encompassing and expanding state does find parallel, especially, sir, in our neighborhood country, China.
Mm.
The way it wants to attain supremacy by acquiring land of
Mhm.
other nations. So definitely it is parallel. Its parallel could also be in the Russian and Ukrainian conflict
Mhm.
related to the Crimean Peninsula. And so this idea of expanding the territory could also be seen in Israel and Palestine case.
You're aware about the ongoing conflict between Israel and Palestine. Ceasefire agreement has been reached between the two powers.
Yes.
India recently decided to remain absent from the voting that happened on the Israel Palestine issue in the UN. Do you think that was a right move by India?
Sir, India has always maintained its dehyphenated stand towards both Israel and Palestine, and it has
Mm.
support. Its support stems from an ideological background for both the nations. So,
Mm.
uh, it its relations have been good with both the nations separately, and
Mm.
it has maintained that throughout. So, sir, I believe it was in that interest that India abstained from
Uh, your hobby is watching contemporary movies and web series.
it. Yes.
Purva, what was the last movie or web series that you watched?
So the last movie I watched was The Father.
Mm.
It was directed by Florian Zeller. It is
Mm.
about a story about a father who has dementia and how he battles.
Mm.
He and his his daughter battles this situation where he's losing grip over time, over his identity. And so the most beautiful thing and the most devastating thing as well about the movie was that it takes the viewer into the minds of the person. So from the starting to the end, the viewer is also confused that how his house is changing, how he's losing track of time. So in this movie, a watch has been used as a metaphor. He always, the father who is suffering from dementia, he always loses his watch, and he says it's a very valuable thing for him, and he wants to keep track of time. But eventually, he loses his watch, he loses track of time, and and he suffers from a breakdown in this movie. So said it also makes us aware about the challenges which elderly face. And so the movie which I watched, the web series which I watched recently was The Boys. It is kind of a mock series on the superhero culture which we have. At the surface, sir, it shows that the superhero culture is driven by commercial interest. However, sir, when we look deeply into the series, we find that it shows that people make heroes out of ordinary people. We expect them to have high moral standards, but in reality, our heroes are as much as at fault as much as we are. So there are no heroes in the world. There are no villains in the world. That was the premise.
Apurva, cooking also happens to be your hobby, and you have specifically mentioned that your area of interest is North Indian cuisine.
Yes.
Can you suggest some North Indian dishes that can help a patient recover quickly who has just come out of COVID?
Yes. So, firstly, I would recommend a beverage that is kadha because it has all the spices in it which boosts the immunity. So, secondly, the person also needs proteins in his diet. So, pulses are recommended. And so, thirdly, they also need to get fresh fruits. For example, the citrus fruits, which have been said by various reports that are helpful for people. And so, since people immunity gets weak, they need to avoid oily and food with high content of salt and sugar. So, a simple diet, simple proper rotis and green leafy vegetable would be helpful for a person to recover quickly.
Apurva, what is your biggest weakness?
Sir, I might not be the best judge of my strengths and weaknesses, but as far as I can think, and I'm certainly working upon it, it is that I tend to procrastinate on things, which definitely needs to be worked upon.
Whom do you idolize as a leader, present or past?
Sir, I idolize various people in different factions.
Name anyone.
Sir, I idolize Swami Vivekananda. And whatever his ideas were for the youth of the nation, his philosophy, which made us believe in self-respect. At the time, the country was grappling with issues of identity. People did not have respect for themselves, for their culture. And then he rose and made sure that people find identity, they find respect within themselves. And he made sure that people work towards other people, that service to man is service to God. And his ideas related to patriotism towards equality. So were definitely that I look forward to and I get my inspiration from.
Apurva, one last question before I hand it over to sir. You're aware about Marx's views on religion?
Yes.
Are you aware about it? Yes?
Yes,
Do you think that the Marxist idea of secularism is not in synthesis with the Indian ethos of secularism?
Sir, Marx proclaimed that religion is the opium for masses. But I beg to differ with Marx. Religion is not the opium for masses, especially in a country like India, which has given three to four of the most prominent religions of the world. Religion is what binds people. Religion is what gives people a faith, and it also gives people a thing to introspect, to look upon to. It changes people's life. It unites people, and sir, definitely it is not an opium. It gives people chances to correct themselves. So I disagree with Mark's view, and it is certainly not in synthesis with the pluralistic values of India and the pluralist religions and the way of life of people of India.
Sir,
Okay, Apurva, a wonderful name, Apurva.
Thank you, sir.
What does it mean? What does it stand for?
Sir, Apurva means unique, something that is unprecedented, that hasn't happened before.
I'm having a poor connection. Okay. Your date of birth happens to be 28th of April, right?
Yes, sir.
A very important day, celebrated as something as very special on this day. What is this day celebrated as? Can you tell me?
So currently, I'm unable to recall. I have read about it. I'm unable to recollect now.
Okay. Uh, this is celebrated as the World Safety and Health Day at
Yes,
work,
sir.
right?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
good.
Thank you.
You've done your BTech,
Yes, sir.
right?
Yes, sir.
So, why do you want to join the Indian Civil Services after having done your BTech?
Sir, I always wanted to join the civil services. It is a prestigious job which provides me the opportunities to make my life better and to give back to the society in ways in which engineering would not have been to a certain extent able to. So that is the reason why I chose to appear for civil services after my graduation in engineering.
You are also a Taekwondo green belt,
Yes, sir.
and the values that you uphold of integrity, compassion, equanimity, remaining calm and composed, all these values would have been of great use to you if you had joined the defense services. Why has that thought not come to you? Why have you not joined the defense service?
So certainly that is also an area which is uh, uh, which is a way for service to the nation. But sir, I was inclined to the civil services from early on, so I directed all my energies towards it itself.
No, but I'm a little bit surprised in the fact that you happen to be BTech. You've done your BTech in electronics and communication. But
Yes,
when I see your options, when I see your order of preferences, uh, after IAS, you chosen IPS. Third option is Indian Revenue Services. If I go across the order preference, I see a certain bias towards the revenue and the accountancy services. Why is that?
uh, sir. Sir, I do not say that it is a bias. It is certainly a type of preference that I had to choose, so I chose in that particular order. Nothing biased. I'm equally I would equally be good at try to be good at all the services.
Okay. Uh, you said you are a green belt in Taekwondo, right? A
Yes,
wonderful achievement. What
yes.
does the green belt signify in Taekwondo?
So the belts in Taekwondo show the level of proficiency. So they are color coded. For example, it starts from white belt, then yellow belt, then green, then we have blue, then red, and then black. So it is a spectrum of the skill that that person has acquired in the Taekwondo training. Accordingly, the belt is given to the person.
No, I said, what does the green belt signify in Taekwondo? What is the significance of a green belt?
Sir, the various color codes are used. In particular, I'm not sure about what the color signifies for Taekwondo. I would have to look into that.
It just signifies that the tree is beginning to develop and grow in strength. That is what is the significance of green. And are you still practicing Taekwondo or have you given it up?
Sir, I tried joining Taekwondo in the stadium where I learned here in Prayagraj itself. However, sir, due to COVID restrictions, it was closed last year as well. Then my mains examination, uh, then prelims and mains examination began. And this year also, sir, when I decided to join, it was closed due to COVID restrictions. So when the stadium will take new applications, I would certainly join again.
Okay, what is the dress that you wear during Taekwondo? What is it called?
Sir, it is called dobok. So it is a white dress, an upper and a lower, and a belt is tied on the waist. So that is the dress.
Okay, you gave me some values that you hold very special in your life. You have reached a level of proficiency in Taekwondo, which is a green belt, as you said, which signifies that you have grown to a particular level, which is uh, much beyond the basic level, right?
Yes.
Tell me, uh, what are the five tenets of Taekwondo?
So the tenets of Taekwondo are resilience, integrity, and sir, it also relates to having a perseverance. It also relates to having patience and ability to focus. So these are the tenets around which the learnings from Taekwondo revolve.
How can these be put into use in your civil services?
Sir, I believe all
How
these
can they help?
values, yes, sir. So all these values would find a place in administration, given that resilience, for instance, we need to have resilient in the face of various challenges the administration faces. From one point to another, the job of administration involves with various repercussions and other things. So one has to have a strong mental balance. So secondly, the person needs to have perseverance. When we are dealing with policy issues, we definitely need to work upon things into details and give them time so that the policy fructifies as we see it in the Swachh Bharat mission. So thirdly, the ability to focus and concentrate. That in this time of huge information misinformation where people are driven by their material instincts, even the civil servants would face such dilemmas. In that case, the ability to focus on the task is very essential. So, fourthly, related to patience, sir, I think it is essential to have patience with the people, with the different stakeholders that administration gets involved in. So definitely these values are going to help in the civil services and the administration as a whole.
Good. Uh,
You sir.
you are fond of cooking, you said, right?
Yes,
North Indian food.
yes, sir.
Why this special preference for North Indian food? Do you like South Indian food, idli dosas?
Sir, I learned cooking from my grandfather and my father, and they are proficient in cooking North Indian food. But sir, I'm trying to expand my skill. I have learned making dosa. I've learned making uh, idli. I've learned making sambar, upma. So I'm definitely trying to, but I have not gone beyond 4 or 5 uh, dishes. So I certainly need to work more upon that as well.
What is your favorite food?
Sir, there are a lot of foods that I like, but one that especially stands out is malai kofta. And so, secondly, sir, I also like a regional variation of cooked rice with vegetables, that is tehri, which is famous in the Purvanchal and the Awadh region. So these two dishes I
I'm
really like.
sorry, I lost contact. I couldn't hear the answer at all, please. Can you repeat once again?
Oh, yes, sir, definitely. Sir, the two dishes which I like most. First is the malai kofta, and sir, second is tehri. It is popular in the eastern regions of Uttar Pradesh, especially Purvanchal, and also have influence of the other dishes. the tehri and malai kofta especially stands out. However, I can cook a lot of varieties of main course vegetables and snacks as well.
What is soul food, Apurva?
The soul food is one that provides comfort, and it is not something very spicy or tacky or something. It is something uh, which has some memories attached to us, a type which reminds of being at home, being at peace, being at comfortable. So, for example, khichdi is a soul food for many people. So that is my understanding of it.
Okay, Apurva, one last question. Your father also is an engineer. You
Yes,
did your BTech. After having completed your BTech, you also appeared for the engineering services,
yes, sir.
right? Uh, I think you could not qualify in the
Yes,
written examination there, right? But then, why did you give up that option and only become focused towards the civil services after 2018?
sir. I gave engineering services examination in 2018 when I was uh, in the final year of my college. Sir, I could not clear the exam and I lost out by a few marks. So, sir, I was definitely wanting to move ahead in order to secure my career. However, sir, after that, I realized because at that time I had not prepared anything for civil services. So, I was feeling maybe I would not be good enough to give the exam and the uncertainty related to it. But, sir, then I took a leap of faith and I decided, okay, if I haven't done anything as of now, I would start from zero. I would definitely reach higher. So, civil services was always the thing that I wanted to do, and so then I gave my sure shot at it.
Good. Thank you very much.
Thank
Agar?
you, sir.
Hello, Apurva.
Hello, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Your name signifies uniqueness, right? As you rightly said.
Yeah.
Tell me what is so unique about you?
Sir, I would say there are things that are unique about me. First is the sir that I'm the first woman engineer in my family. Sir,
Okay.
secondly, I'm the first person in my entire extended family who has appeared for civil services examination. I also got selected in one in UPPCS in 2019 and in 20 also, and I've also reached to the stage of interview here. So I definitely think, sir, in the professional aspect, I have something unique in my bag.
Good. So tell me, even in your family or other families in India, we see that uh, there is a lesser importance being given to women education. What is the reason behind that?
Sir, it starts at the very basic level, at the level of the mentality of people. They believe that an educated woman, uh, a girl child will not live in their house, and it would be difficult for her to get married if she's highly educated. So secondly, when she grows up, there is issue of mobility involved. Parents uh, feel fearful that they could not send their daughters to other areas. So after marriage, we could see that there is this challenge that people do not think that women should be employed if the situation of the house is good. So these factors, the combination of these factors hampers the education of women. But however, so certainly the trends are changing more. We have seen that we have closed the gap at primary and the secondary level. So to quote a personal example, my mother, she has done double MA. She has continued with her education. She completed a double MA 2 years back. So women definitely all around I can see are giving importance to education. And sir, it would be women themselves along with their families, which would make sure that they get
Okay.
educated and they get employed.
So, Apurva, despite of increasing education among women LFPR is decreasing according to the PLFS report.
Yes.
What could be the reason?
Sir, Indian women labor force participation rate is certainly very poor compared to other countries. And so the prominent reasons are, so firstly, the level of the skills that women have. Most women who are employed are also in the low paying jobs, not at high paying jobs. The firstly is the employability. So secondly, it is the issue of the care aspect, which is on the women only. So they are not able to manage time. All the burden of the household responsibilities are on them. So thirdly, I believe there is an issue of women's safety as well, because there are issues related to mobility, to working at distant places. So the issue related to workplace safety is certainly there. So fourthly, as the level of income, the ease of living of a family rises, they tend to believe that now it is not important for a woman to go out and work for them. It has a patriarchal mindset to it. Sir, I believe these are the prominent reasons why we see a dipping labor force participation rate.
Let us say in your family, your distant cousin, she is being forced to resign from her job just because of per capita income of household is rising, and they do not want that if a man or male member of a household can meet needs of the family, then women should not go out. How would you convince that family that the women participating in labor force is essential? How would you convince them?
So, firstly, in order to convince her, given that she was already working and now she has resigned, so the members of the family were very well aware at the time of marriage that she is a career oriented woman. So, I would first tell them that the circumstances in which she took up the job, it was her dream also to progress. So, a unilateral decision should not be forced upon her. Secondly, sir, I would make them make them realize that an increase income contributed by her would also increase the standards of living by the family as a whole. It would reduce the burden on her husband. Certainly, that could be one angle. Thirdly, I would make sure that she manages her household work, in that she could have some domestic help in order to that she could manage, because sometimes there could be reasons by the elders in the family that she need to take care of her. She's not giving us time. In that, someone as a domestic help could be employed. But I believe, uh, and the importance of husband role in is also very important. We need to find out what he said.
Apurva, I think you didn't hear my case properly. I haven't mentioned anywhere that the lady was married or your cousin was married. I haven't mentioned it anywhere. Okay, not an issue.
Sorry.
You are from Prayagraj, right,
Yes,
Apurva?
sir. Yes, sir.
Its previous name was Allahabad.
Yes.
Its name was recently changed. What do you prefer, Prayagraj or Allahabad?
Sir, I believe the name of city does not only have a personal preference to it, it is a popular preference. So going by the popular preference and the way it has been given the new name, although it is an ancient name, it has been in the subconscious of the people from long. Sir, I believe it is culturally, historically, and even geographically more suited name for the city. And therefore, Sir, Prayagraj is aptly suited to increase the tourism potential of the city, to make it go towards its spiritual roots, which it is known for. I believe uh, it
But
works in this.
don't you think history has we can divide history in three parts, right? Ancient, medieval, and modern.
Yes.
Your argument gives me a feeling that you prefer more of ancient history, less of medieval history. Is it so?
No,
Why are you
sir,
selective?
sir, I would like to say in case of Prayagraj, people already knew the name, the place of the name with Prayag. Many people used to say it. In fact, there is an area uh, which was said as Prague itself in the city. So, sir, it is not a new construct for the people. It has the name has maintained its importance, its sanctity from ancient time to the medieval times to the modern times and to the present times. So, I believe, sir, it is not important. It is not the matter of giving uh, certain preference to certain section of history. It is a matter of understanding the name which people relate to with the city, what the popular mood of the city is, and how the administration sees to go about.
Okay. Apurva, you like cooking. So I would like to know from you, what is the primary difference between North Indian cuisine and South Indian cuisine?
So there are certain differences to both the styles of cooking. So firstly, given that the geographical location of both the places, the the main cereal, the dominant cereal in both the regions vary. For example, in the northern India, it is wheat dominant uh, cuisine, and in the southern India, it is rice dominant. So secondly, there is also a difference between the consistency of gravies. For example, in the northern India, the gravies are comparatively thicker, more creamier, and in southern India, the gravies are more watery, and they are more thinner in nature. So the nature of spices that are used are also different in both these areas. So these are the differences I could think of right now. So there are plenty
Okay.
more.
Okay,
Sir,
okay,
one
fine.
more.
Tell me, tell me.
Sir, one other difference is the type of edible oil used. In the northern India, it is mostly mustard oil. In the southern India, it is coconut oil. However, ghee is used at both the places in equal quantities.
Okay. Uh, does out of North Indian and South Indian food, tell me which food has more of international influence, North or South?
Sir, as far as international influence is concerned, uh, in my understanding, the northern Indian cuisine has got more influence with the Central Asian regions and with Persian regions because of the coming of invaders into these areas. So it has certainly been more influenced, and most of the cuisines like Mughlai cuisine, Awadh cuisine, and the cuisine in Kashmir region are influenced by the same. However, sir, at present times, we could see the influence of other international cuisines in both in the northern part of India and in the southern part of India. We could see that in the booming of cheese industry. We could find now cheese dosas, cheese pav bhaji. So it is certainly changing, and we are having quite an influx of uh, cuisines from all across the world.
Okay. And last question from the cooking area. Tell me, from the cooking point of view, why coarse grains have not found that much acceptance in the mind of people, despite of them being very nutritious compared to the cereals? Tell me why they have not found that much acceptance from the cooking perspective.
Sir, as far as cooking perspective is concerned, there is difficulty in cooking the coarse grains. For example, sir, when we have uh, chapatis made of bajra, it is difficult to combine them and knead them together. Whereas those made of coarse grains, those made from wheat, are more easier to make. So there is a difference. There is a certain level of difficulty involved in the coarse grain. The stickiness
Okay.
is not there.
Okay, good. Uh, Tell me something about multiple input, multiple output. Have you heard this term, which is in news related to communication technologies? Tell me.
Yes, the multiple input, multiple output uh, are used in type of communication system. So they are used in various sequential and combinational circuits as well. And that it means that at a particular time, uh, it parallelly decodes the data, encrypts the data, and transfers from one place to another. Multiple inputs could be transferred, and multiple outputs could be generated.
Okay, but what are the difficulties in such kind of communication?
Sir, as far as the communication segment is concerned, the difficulties could be related to crosstalk and differences in the channel due to interference by the two inputs. So these are the challenges I could think of right now.
Okay, are you aware about basic difference between 5G and 4G technologies?
Yes.
And
So
do
there
you buy that argument that our hunger for increased communication speed, it is harming the environment?
Sir, firstly, to answer your first question, the difference between the 4G and 5G is basically related to the speed of the transfer of data. So in 4G, the speed is up to 100 Mbps. In the 5G, it is expected to be 10 Gbps, and it is also relation to latency aspect as well. So in 4G, the latency is higher. In 5G, the latency is lower, which would be very crucial in transforming our communication system. So as far as harming the environment is concerned, so several studies are being done into this issue. However, sir, conclusive evidences have not been found, and related to the using of data and energy required to fulfill the demand for storing data, for working upon data, for acquiring data, and giving it a proper structure. So definitely, a lot amount of energy is required in that. So we need to look at greener alternatives for that, so that the technology could be a green technology and not cost amount on environment.
Okay. In your DAF, you have mentioned that in the section of distinction leadership position you hold, you have held the position of junior perfect and senior perfect, right? In schools. Tell me how they are position of distinction in leadership and what leadership lessons you learned from them.
Yes, sir. Sir, I'm very grateful to have been appointed as junior prefect and senior prefect during my school days. Sir, certainly at the early age, it was a good lesson in leadership and how to coordinate with people. What I learned was while managing various events in the school where I was given the responsibility, it is essential to coordinate with the students. We should not force upon them orders. We need to understand why they are creating a ruckus, why they're going from this line to that line, what is the issue, why they are roaming around here and there. We need to find out the root causes of the problem, then only we can solve the problem. We don't have to have a hard approach to that. And so second leadership lesson which I learned is that we need to be understanding of the of what the situation demands. In that way we can modify our actions, we can be strict, we can be lenient on basis of the situation. And so thirdly, I also learned to coordinate with my other office bearers. So that was very important lessons that I learned early on in the life.
Name any one political leader who is currently active and alive, whom would you admire?
Sir, as far as alive leader is concerned, I will take a moment to think about it.
Yeah, sure.
Sir, as far as I can think of right now, I certainly believe Barack Obama is an inspiring figure, and for people all across the world, and how he has made it into the White House through his determination.
I said alive and active. Who is currently politically active?
Okay, sir. Sir, in that case, I'm not sure if I'm inclined towards anyone. However, sir, Emmanuel Macron is also a very good leader of France, president of France. So, sir, I believe he's aspiring to a certain extent. And
but his some of policies are being criticized right now. What are they?
Yes, sir. His views towards extremist group in the countries, etc. And he holds the secular principles of France to in very high regard, and he does not want any changes with that. So these are definitely criticized. These are the current repercussions that he's facing. But however, he believes that it is for his country to make its decisions, and he's very well aware of the challenges that it faces. And France, being a secular country, it wants to be like the same, and it does not want to change its way. It wants the people who are coming should mold their ways according to the French way of life.
So do you buy that argument that those who are coming into a country they should mold their ways and behaviors, and they should let go of their culture, and they should get accustomed to the destination culture. Don't you think
Sir,
it will hamper migration?
yes, sir, that is one of the issue that is being faced in France recently, because he was considered a very popular leader in the liberal world, and now his views are considered to be illiberal by some, that he's not allowing people to follow. But however, sir, I believe that it works both ways. Every country has certain values that it holds dear to itself, and it wants that people who come, who in their whole subconscious mind make a conscious decision to enter a country, should very well abide with its rules and laws. They are very well aware beforehand. So there are two, three things which are causing a repercussion among people. And although they are saying that they are targeting the extremist in the groups, and they have been an open society from a very long time. So those who are coming should also be open in that nature. So, sir, in some ways, the government should also loosen a little, and the people also need to be more accommodative of the culture.
Okay. Roy, sir?
Apurva, you said that you admire Emmanuel Macron.
Yes,
Are you
I
aware
couldn't
to
think
which?
of anyone else.
Okay, it means under the given circumstances that were
Yes.
presented before you, you chose Emmanuel Macron. Are you aware that to which political party he belongs?
No, sir, I'm not sure about that.
Okay. Are you aware of his political ideology?
Sir, his ideology is liberal in nature, and he's a liberalist. His views related to migration and towards other government spending are also liberal in nature. So he's not a conservative candidate. He has welcomed migration in his country, and his views towards providing social security benefits are also there. So in that sense, I'm aware of his political ideology, but I'm not very sure about the party.
A person who is liberal is more inclined towards the left end of the political spectrum.
Yes.
Do you agree to this statement?
Sir, it is said, but however, sir, the liberal spectrum is quite wide. We also have right liberals, center liberals, and left liberals. So liberal is as in an ideology which accepts the views of all, which takes into consideration the views of all, and it basically believes that a differing view could also coexist. So that is the basic premise, I believe, of liberalism is acceptance of others. Although we may not agree with them, but we accept them and their right to coexist and propagate their views. So all across the spectrum, related whether it is left, which is related to more economically left or right the people are, but they could be liberal all across the spectrum.
Apurva, if you are given the opportunity to go back in time and rectify one mistake that you committed in life, what would be that mistake?
So at present moment, when I think about the life I have lived, I do not think that anything was a mistake. I do not have regrets for any, because all those circumstances have brought me where I am, and I'm at content with where I am. So all incidences, all events, all people have in some way molded the type of person I am, and I would not take them out of my life. I accept my life as it is.
Okay, let me put this in a different way. One thing that you would like to improve, some decision you took, or in some event that you participated, which you feel that there is a lot of room for improvement, some choices you made?
So certainly there are things the one thing which comes to my mind, in my first mains paper, I should have definitely not written with Pilot V5 pen. I should have written with Renault Trimax, because the type of grip the pen has, I regretted that a lot. That I wrote with that pen, the nib also broke at some point. So that is one thing. Secondly, I would say that I should have started the hobby of reading a little early. I took up quite late, so I have piles of books to read. Certainly, these changes I could have made.
What kind of books you like to read, Apurva?
Sir, I like to read any book which picks up my curiosity. I read both fiction and non-fiction in Hindi and English.
Any particular subject matter that fascinates you?
So the stories of people and how their emotions portray, because it provides me an opportunity to know people, to learn about their lives, and in turn it makes me more sensitive towards issues which I have been ignorant about my life, which I have not encountered. So books dealing with raw human emotions of how people are, how they think, they certainly uh, get my interest. So one primary book which I could think of right now is Khaled Hosseini's A Thousand Splendid Suns. It's a great book. And Premchand's and Nirmala too, I could think of right now. So these are the books which deals with human emotions I have found.
Have you read any book written by Leo Tolstoy?
No, sir, I haven't read classics as of now. I'm reading more of latest books right now.
Okay. Apurva, electronics and communications has been your branch in your engineering. Can you tell me what is the structure of an optical fiber?
Yes. Sir, in optical fiber, there is a core and a cladding, and they are encompassed in such a way that when the light passes through it, there's total internal reflection, which makes sure that signal passes from one place to another, and there's strands of fiber into it, which have the core and the cladding. So together they are taken up in a wire-like form, and they are used for communication networks.
So there are only two layers in an optical fiber cable, core and cladding. That's what you're trying to say?
Sir, in the network, there are various things. Sir, I was typically telling about the fiber. Sir, in the network, there are, in the optical communication network, firstly, there is
You
the
just
fiber.
tell me about the structure of an optical fiber cable.
Sir, there's core, cladding, and there are components which I'm unable to recall right now. I'm unable to.
I specifically asked you that question because you have presented some paper or something with respect to optics. Anyhow, what was your major project in your final semester?
So the same paper that I presented in the conference, that was my project. It was more of a software-oriented project. It was performance analysis of optical WDM networks. So we worked out in the MATLAB software about the various parameters which an optical network uses. For example, in WDM system, it uses it multiplexes the wavelength, and in the same wavelength spectrum, various signals could be transferred. So it reduces the need for more bandwidth and more fiber space. So that is one thing. So we analyze the performance by varying the frequency, by varying the bandwidth, and then we studied the effects on crosstalk and the bit error rate which happened in the fiber. So this was the major premise.
Are you aware of the fact that red is used as a color to for say danger signals or to make any kind of identification marks?
Yes. Sir.
Why red is used and not any other color?
So red color is used because in the wavelength spectrum, sir, the red color has a higher wavelength compared to other colors, and sir, so it is more visible to the people. So it could be more prominently visible even in the dark. So that is why red color is used.
Is there any relationship with respect to scattering of light?
Yes, so it definitely is related to it, because for example, in the spectrum of Webb-Cure, so the violet light is the most scattered one, the red light is the least scattered one. So it does not scatter. The red light, the type of scattering is very less. So the visibility factor, the intensity of the color factor is quite. So therefore, red is used in the danger.
If something scatters most, just going by general logic, it should cover a larger area. If something is more scattered, it will cover a larger area. Yes. And higher the wavelength, lesser is the scattering. That's the general rule in communication or physics. Clear? That's why red has the highest wavelength, hence it scatters the least. That's why it is used as danger symbols and all. So violet has the least wavelength and it must scatter the most. Going by that logic, yes. Then why does the sky appears blue and not violet?
So these are the colors of the spectrum only. So the blue color is related to the scattering, as I mentioned before. So particular reason why it does not appear violet is I'm not very sure of. However, it related to the scattering aspect. I'm sure that it is the spectrum of the color blue.
Okay. Okay. Apurva.
I would certainly look into it more deeply.
Yeah. Apurva, you have also organized a farewell function for your seniors.
Yes.
And you have categorized that as an event, which you feel that you have exhibited some leadership skills in that. What leadership skill did you exhibit when you organized that function? Name 3 such skills.
So 2-3 things that I did differently, which I believe was in is a sense of leadership thing. So firstly, when we were organizing the event, I took the feedback from all the 50 students in our class. We made sure that no one is not participating, that anyone is feeling left out. So we took suggestions from all the people. We note them down, and we made sure that each person was given certain responsibility. When people are given responsibility, then they take it as an own event. Otherwise, only 4 people are organizing, and other are just coming on the final day. So that was one thing which I did, and I made sure that I believe that was a kind of democratic thing which I did in that. So secondly, sir, with related to giving gifts to the senior, arranging everything from one stop to another. So we need to have there are variety of views. So in order to coordinate, so I made sure that there was a good coordination. So in that I realized I have good coordination skills. I could manage extreme views of other members. So that is one thing. So thirdly, I believe that transparency involved in the process, because when a student pays or anyone pays anything, because it was a contributing kind of thing, we booked the hall. So they want to know that how the money is utilized, and there is a certain sense of fear among people that people might do some kind of corruption. So I made sure that every receipt, every money was accounted for. So it was kind of a proper auditing kind of thing. I believe I maintained transparency and a sense of accountability towards people. I believe these were the leadership skills I showed here.
Purva, have you heard about the term big tech? Big tech, which is recently in news.
Yes.
Yes, what is it?
So big tech essentially involves the large multinational corporations who have the disruptive technologies and whose presence involves all around the world. And they are so dominant that even their powers in some ways for some people seem to be greater than the sovereign powers of some nations. So that they're kind of uh, some people say that it is the beginning of technocrat nations. So that is what the big tech is about.
Can you name some big tech companies?
Yes, sir. Sir, there are 4-5 big tech companies. The one is Amazon, and so secondly is Facebook. Thirdly, we can say that Apple is also a kind of big tech company, and then Twitter. Twitter is also a big tech company.
Okay, are you aware about the recent controversy surrounding Twitter?
Yes, sir.
That the head of Twitter India was summoned by the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. And to this, Twitter raised an alarm and said that it's an attack on, say, freedom of speech and expression, because the ministry called him, or the chief of Twitter, to get himself presented before a parliamentary panel. Do you think that this was a right move, or do you criticize this? You condone this or you condemn this?
Sir, I certainly do not condone this. And coming to the second aspect of this, sir, the reason why why the in charge of Twitter in India was summoned was related to the tag of manipulated media, which was given on profile of certain leaders related to the government. So the main objection of
Mm.
of the government has been that Twitter is an intermediary under Section 79 of the IT Act, and it
Mm.
should not behave as a publisher. It should not behave as an editor, that it cannot modify speech for the
Mm.
people. It is just a platform which publishes it. And sir,
Mm.
as there were IT rules that they need to have a grievance officer, a complaint, a
Mm.
nodal officer, and they did not follow any. And the government said if they will not follow any rules of the country, then they will not be taken as intermediary and they would taken as a publisher. So any violent content on their website, for that they would also be liable. So these were the point of contention. And Twitter
The
believes,
question was specifically that
yes, sir.
when Twitter or the head of the Twitter or the HR of the Twitter or any responsible authority of the Twitter said that it's an attack on freedom of speech and expression, do you agree to that statement made by that authority when he was asked to get himself presented in person before a parliamentary panel?
Sir, I do not agree with this statement. The Twitter is not an authoritative body to decide on laws of freedom of speech and expression in the country. We have our laws. We value freedom of speech and expression as a part of our fundamental rights under Article 90. And certainly we value freedom of speech and expression more than a private company whose sole interest is generating profit. We need not take lessons of freedom of speech and expression from the big tech companies of the United States. So the government has made it sure that Twitter follows rules related to its latest IT rules, and it has very well responded to the false alarms raised by the Twitter head that India is attacking the right of freedom of speech and expression. In fact, the government has said that Twitter needs to act more responsibly because it is a social media giant and it needs to be held responsible for the action it is taking. It is not an arbitrator of what is right and wrong. It is just an intermediary and it should behave like one. That is basic.
Apurva, are you aware of this, that Mark Zuckerberg, who happens to be the chairman of Facebook, he was once called by a committee of American Senate
Yes.
and he presented himself before that committee? Same things have happened with respect to other big tech high officials being called by the British Parliament Joint Parliamentary Committee. But there were no alarms raised at that time. Do you think that these companies have double standards for the West and for developing countries?
So certainly, especially in the case of Facebook, we can certainly see that there are double standards. For example, WhatsApp, which is part of Facebook, the privacy policy law, which it is trying to implement in privacy policy rules, which is trying to implement in India. It is not the same which is trying to implement in the Europe because they have a stricter privacy laws. So certainly they are taking advantages of whatever loopholes they have. And in that case, sir, we need to make strong laws and hold these companies accountable because the future is all tech, all data driven. We need to hold them accountable. We need to bring them to our parliamentary committees, question them, and make sure that they follow our rules and they play by our rules. We do not play by their rules.
Okay. Apurva, you're aware of the term iWays? iWays?
Sir,
Have you heard this term? iWays?
Sir, I'm unable to think of it right now.
Okay. It is with respect to connectivity through internet ways.
Okay, sir. Okay.
What do you think? What the country requires more today? Highways or highways? If you have to choose one, what will you choose?
Sir, so certainly the government does not work in silos and we could certainly do both the things. However, if one has to really choose between the highways and the highways, I would certainly pick up highways because it is a disruptive technology. We cannot lag far behind in that. Highways certainly are being constructed at a faster pace than in the last decade as the Ministry of Road Transport's data is there. So certainly we are constructing highways. But sir, highways is certainly the thing of the future. We cannot be far behind in it. And we need to make sure that we have proper protocols, proper safety related things, because the world is now more connected, the world is more digital, and those who will fall behind in acquiring the new skill would then have to live in the hegemony of the countries and the the MNCs which have that power. So certainly we need to work towards IBS with more consideration and with more laser sharp.
Apurva, why do you want to join the civil services? What is your primary motivation? And tell me the real motivation.
So the real motivation is, I've always believed that it has been an inner calling that I would do better in this field. I don't know why, but I always thought that this is something in which I would be able to learn, relearn, and define and redefine my work, and through which I would excel in making sure that I realize my full potential, and through that I would make sure that I give back to the society through the work I'm doing.
Apurva, recently Trump's Twitter account was suspended. Do you, are you in favor of it, or are you not in favor?
Sir, his account was suspended during the case of Capitol riots in United States and various misinformation campaigns that was alleged that was by him, and a panel was appointed by the Twitter to make sure to look into the matter, and they suspended his account. Sir, I believe, sir, as per the Twitter rules, they have certain rights through which they could take down the account if do not follow their guidelines. So, sir, they suspended in their understanding that it was not right for whatever tweets he has done.
On the one side, when they talk in terms of right of speech, is this in accordance with that right that they're talking about?
So Twitter has various policy guidelines related to which a certain kind of content could not be put. For example, the content which promotes rioting, which promotes violent or heinous attacks. So accordingly, they had decided that whether they should suspend the account or not, and so it was their decision for that. So I believe they have done the thing according to their guidelines on the social media.
Okay. Have you heard of Tarini?
Sir, I'm unable to hear it. So could you please repeat?
In relation to the Indian Navy, have you heard of something called as the Tarini?
Yes, sir, I've heard about it.
What is it? And why was it famous?
Sir, as far as I can recall, it was an all-women crew. If I could recall correctly, that went through various oceans of the in the world. I'm unable to recall exactly. I've heard the name. It is name of the vessel in which the crew was there.
And what was the name of that expedition?
Sir, I'm unable to recall now. It was in 2018 that I could remember. It was an all-women expedition. However, the name I couldn't.
That's right. Navika Sagar Parikrama. Okay.
Thank you.
Have you heard about, you have recently been hearing a lot about the Iron Dome.
Yes, sir.
Have you heard about the David's sling?
So David's
sling.
Okay, sir. I've heard about Iron Dome, but not about the other thing.
Okay. What is special about the Iron Dome?
So the Iron Dome is a kind of a protective structure which Israel has built, a type of security measure. So what Iron Dome does is in case of any rockets are fired towards the area in which the Iron Dome operates, it deciphers it and it neutralizes it. So recently, when there were airstrikes going on between Israel and Gaza, operated by Hamas, so in that, sir, Iron Dome neutralized. There were around 2,000 to 3,000 rockets which were flown into Iron Dome, and Iron Dome effectively neutralized 95 to 98% of it. So it is a crucial security arrangement built by the Israel.
Does India have an Iron Dome system?
Sir, we have two-layer of security system in New Delhi, Akash and Prithvi missile system. And sir, we also have we are also procuring S-400 from Russia, so that we are also going to employ. It is a kind of anti rocket destroyer system. And so we are also in talks with United States related to a security arrangement towards the national capital region. So our area, however, sir, our area is limited. As far as Israel is concerned, the area is quite wide. Given the size of a country, we need more of these uh, machines.
So, what are the limitations in respect of India as regards the Iron Dome?
So the limitation which I could think of right now is related to, firstly, it is a very expensive system, and the important cities of India are located far and wide. For example, Delhi and Mumbai are quite a distance. So if an Iron Dome system is made near the New Delhi region, so we have to protect it from two hostile neighbors, Pakistan and China. And sir, if in the northeast regions, if you place, then we will leave out one particular region. So the geographical expense of the country is quite much. So that one I could think of as a limitation to the Iron Dome structure.
Okay, tell me, Apurva, since 1990, women have been integral part of the Indian Armed Forces, right? Women have also joined as pilots in the Indian Air Force and the Indian Navy. But the women pilots I mean, they have even joined as combat pilots, fighter pilots in the Indian Air Force. They are flying combat aircraft. So when women are flying aircraft in the Indian Air Force and the Indian Navy, why does Army not permit women to fly the aircraft?
So this is an ongoing debate, uh, whether women should be allowed in the combat roles in the territorial army. So, sir, I believe the main reasons why they are not allowing as of now, they believe that it is related to some societal aspect, that whether the men in the uniform will take orders from the women in the commanding role. So secondly, the reason being cited is that the nature of the hostile neighbors we have, in case the women, uh, a woman person from army is captured. In that case, the as in India we denote women in sense of honor and modesty. So that could be a challenging thing, given that in our neighbors have been very hostile in treating with people from other. We have seen that in Kargil. We have also seen that during the Galwan clashes are hostile. So that is these are the 2 points on which it has been debated. And sir, I believe that in times to come, we certainly need to give the commanding role to women, given that in the when a person joins the army, he is very well aware of what the circumstances he or she could be in. So just only because we have some apprehension that what might happen, should not let it come in between of what could happen right now. And certainly women could bring more diversity in the type of skills in the combat roles. At present, sir, we should give allow women in the combat roles related to the manning of machines and the various artilleries and arms, etc. And in the security and cyber security related aspects. And moving forward, we could certainly include women in combat roles. Various countries like Israel have women in combat roles. So certainly this option could be explored, and the government and the army is in talks related to this, and the future course of action should should take place in favor of combat roles for women in army.
My question was not about women in the combat roles. My question was about women in flying roles in the Indian Army aviation. And as you said about the uh, the probability of the woman being captured and the after effects of that, don't you think that these issues are much more in the Indian Air Force rather than the Indian Army? And the Indian Air Force already has women in the flying combat pilot roles.
So the level of threats for both men and women in all the aspects are same. However, so our Indian Air Force has allowed women for the combat role when on the basis of their skills. So certainly that needs to be followed for other wing as well. That is my understanding of the issue.
Okay. Thank you, Apurva.
Okay, Apurva. Uh, from your DAF, it seems that you hold some biasness towards Northeast. Is it so?
No, sir. I do not believe
So
that I have any bias.
then why did you chose it as the fifth option?
Sir, I was giving preferences basis uh, as I had to give preference to some states or the other. So some states had to be filled at the last. So that was the only reason. Nothing particular against Northeast India.
As you said that you want to give back to society, right? So don't you think Northeast is facing a lot of challenges? Good civil servants are not willing to go there. And if people like you, if they chose Northeast as their first preference, then Northeast would get quality civil servants. It would lead to their economic, social development. So what do you think? Why good people like you, they prefer Northeast as their last option? Why?
Sir, as far as good civil service servants are concerned, I believe so. Those who are selected to serve in Northeast are definitely serving it with dedication and passion. And many people would certainly get not service posting for Northeast job, and it could be me as well. I would be very happy to work there. And giving back to society is not constrained by geographical boundaries. It was just a matter of preference. Sir, I believe it is not an issue for me. Yeah. However, sir, because as you asked why people do not uh, give it as a first preference, sir, in my understanding, it is related to their home state location where they are more familiar with the problems. So that could be one issue, and the language disconnect could be another. However, sir, we can always learn about the society and always learn the language and understand, because the aim of the civil services is to implement the policies and programs of the government. So that is my utmost priority.
Okay. I want you to give me a proper meaning, according to you, of the term women empowerment in just 2 lines.
So women empowerment to me means uh, a kind of platform through which women are able to make their own choices, face their own consequences, influence the choices of others, uh, and live their life to their fullest potential, get every opportunity, and dream of every outcome they want. And so this women empowerment, it would come from the women, and it also comes from the society. But it is an internal as well as an external approach. I believe that is my understanding of what women empowerment is.
Okay. Let us say, due to rising violence against women in Delhi, Delhi government thinks of starting a separate metro line or a separate metro specifically for women. Is it women empowerment, according to you?
So firstly, we need to understand why a separate women metro women line is being taken into the consideration. So we also have seen a case of separate women compartments in the metro already. Sir, I believe it stems out from a sense of safe, to create a safe environment for women. So in some way, it would if you run through course of this project, we would see that it would increase more mobility. It would make sure that the environment for the women, they would step more from their houses. So these all could happen. So certainly in some ways we can think that it is a component of women empowerment. Because various governments.
But don't you
for
think it is
example,
compartmentalization of different gender? Don't you think the gap will increase? It will create more discord or more problem rather than harmony or the peace or the safety? If you prefer separate metro for women, then you prefer separate schools and colleges for girls as well. That is also women empowerment. But is it advisable in the longer run?
Sir, as far as mobility is concerned, various reports have highlighted that transportation is one of the factors in which the women feel most unsafe going out of their houses and going to whether to school, to colleges, to workplaces. So it hinders their mobility and it makes them sit in their houses. Even when we go out in the night, we find that the number of women are very low. The ratio is 9:1 or 10:1 compared to men and women. So certainly, sir, this metro line could be, in a way, make sure that women feel more safe. I do not believe, sir, that it will create any discord in the society, or it would be disempowering to the other gender, or it would lead to destruction of peace and harmony. In fact, sir, I believe that in various instances, for example, in Uttar Pradesh itself, there is a women bus service where only women go, and so they are quite a hit with the people. In fact, the male members and the family members are now more relaxed that okay, they will go through the women bus. They do not fear about the safety anymore. I believe, sir, in a way, it will make the society more peaceful rather than discordant.
Okay.
It is an idea which
Thank you,
could be
Apurva.
explored.
Sir?
Okay, one final question before we let you go. What is happiness, Apurva, according to you? And when was the last time when you were extremely happy?
Sir, happiness, as per me, is an equivalent of peace. To be at acceptance, to be at peace with oneself, to accept our flaws, to know our limitations, and to derive strength out of ourselves. That to me, sir, is the epitome of happiness.
Mm-hmm.
To be acceptable, to be acceptable of others. Then we accept ourselves, then only we accept others. And that to me is what happiness is. And so the moment I was extremely happy, so recently when I cooked the dish, so everyone was quite happy with it. So that was really a good moment for me. I really enjoyed that people liked it and they complimented. That's a happy moment.
Okay, Apurva, it was lovely interacting with you. You can wait. We will reconnect with you for your feedback. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Apurva, good things first. Your communication skills are very good there. And overall, the levels of decency throughout the interview, the composure and the calmness, as you said that these are also your strength, you maintained that. It was very good, that what you said was reflected also. You are a good listener, so you have listened properly. But because we are here to do some critical analysis here, and ultimately this is just a mock session, and we are preparing for that big day. Clear? So it would be good on our part that we have a critical analysis of our performance. Clear? Yes. So I will highlight few lacunas which I have observed, few shortcomings, which if you work on those areas, definitely there will be an improvement by good marks. Say 20, 25 marks can improve even beyond that. Clear? So first thing, Apurva, is that the length of the answers were too long. Clear? Now, what happens, dear, in mains examination, you preserve your best point for conclusion. But in interview, you have to present your first point right at the first sentence, because the person who is asking you the question may interject and stop you. So you will never get the opportunity to produce your best point. And if suppose a question is asked, that what do you prefer between integrity and honesty? You should not start the answer like this. Definitely both integrity and honesty are required. Yes, we know that. The question is very direct. What do you prefer? First, you have to say, I would prefer integrity, and then give your defense. Why you do that? Clear? Firstly, you were creating a background for your answer. And sometimes, dear, that the board member might not like this. Suppose you are the superintendent of police and a political leader is online and there is some trouble going on in the district and he wants a suggestion from you in one line. He has asked a question and you're creating a background for that. It will irritate him. That is also true with, say, chief secretary, cabinet secretary, if you're talking with those people. Clear? So be very specific, dear. The answers were fine, but cut down the background.
Yes,
Directly answer so that the interest levels in your answer do not drop. Clear?
Sure.
That's first correction that you have to do. Second, you see, some of the opinion-based questions that were asked to you, you handled them very well. And you have portrayed your opinions very diplomatically and in a balanced way with proportionate levels of all ideologies and everything. Like, say, for example, the liberal question which I asked, you said that, yes, definitely this is popular perception that liberal means left liberal. But liberal could be a right liberal as well. Liberal means one who is not sitting on any end of the political spectrum. So that was a very good answer. But you see, Apurva, that if you falter on information that is provided by you, then there is a big problem. It means, in other words, अगर आप current affairs में कुछ ना बोल पाओ चलेगा, लेकिन अगर आप DAF से related उन topics पे ना बोल पाओ जो आपने खुद दिया है, DAF you have filled it, or UPSC has asked you to fill the DAF in a particular manner. Obviously, you have provided the information, so you should know inside out everything about it. Clear?
Yes.
Now, I will highlight few things where I think some of the answers which were not appropriate. It means there is enough room for improvement there. First is, one question was asked to you, why is 28th April significant? That's your birthday. You should know about it. Clear? See, Apurva.
I forgot at that moment. I have to revise these things again.
You should, dear, because if you fail on questions related to DAF, maybe the board will think you are not serious. Do you understand that?
Yes.
See, it is not the test of your knowledge. That has already been done in pre and mains. This is the test of your personality. Every question that is thrown at you and whatever answer you give, the idea is to check your values, your priorities, the strengths, the virtues of your personality, the vices, etc. Clear? Second question, Rajapur, I asked you. Rajapur, that relates to your address. There also you were not very sure. You should know about it. Clear? Because you have lived there throughout your life.
Yes, sir.
You should know about it. Then Immanuel Kant, I asked you a question about Immanuel Kant. One basic difference is said that natural sciences and physical science, and he said that subjects like history and geography are different because they do not have a set subject matter. You read that, right?
That's the main
Geographical thought.
contribution.
Yes, I know you know that, dear, but you have to recollect it and answer it at that point, right? Otherwise, you have to repent it later. Then there was one question with respect to taekwondo. Significance of green belt. First, you did not listen to the question very properly, and then your answer was not satisfactory. So improve on that aspect as well. You have presented a paper on optics, and that was also your major subject or major project in your engineering. And structure of an optical fiber cable, you said that I cannot recall it very vividly right now. That is not a good answer. It's core, cladding, buffer, that's simple things. I know you know that. But again, do you understand that, dear? It shows that something which you have done, that's your, on the basis of that degree, you are eligible for this examination. Do you understand that? So you should know about it. Then one event in your life which you think was a mistake, your answer was very straightforward. And like we say in our daily conversation, as if you're talking to a friend, I don't think I have committed any mistake, but you put that into better words. It shows, dear, that your personality, then you are the new Lord Rama, who has no mistakes and no flaws in personality. Do you understand that? You can highlight, like later when I said, you could have highlighted this, that I used the wrong pen. That was a mistake. Do you understand that, dear? Later when I altered the question, the words of the question, then you could understand it. But do not say that I do not have any flaws, I do not have any weakness. It means that you are not real. Then in that case, you are surreal, which is very, you can understand, which seems very artificial. Do you understand that, dear?
Yes.
Get the message. And then Emmanuel Macron, you said that I admire Emmanuel Macron. And when I asked you, what is this political party? You were not aware of it. What is this political ideology? You were not aware of it. Somebody, this is again a conscious choice that you have made. In that case, what you do is that any person who is in active politics, see, the whole idea is to put you under stress situation. And your aim is to get out of it as quickly as possible. Do not answer in such a fashion that counter questions could be raised on the basis of your answer. So if suppose somebody is asked who is active in present politics, you can name somebody from your place who is the sarpanch. अब उसके बारे में किसको क्या पता होगा, क्या पूछेंगे आपसे? Do you understand that? और ये ट्रैप भी है एक तरीके का. अगर आपने इंडिया के किसी एक्टिव पॉलिटिकल पार्टी के किसी पॉलिटिशियन का नाम लिया होता, तो ऑब्वियसली आपकी पॉलिटिकल आइडियोलॉजी कहीं ना कहीं थोड़ी रिफ्लेक्ट होती. You get that, dear?
Yes.
But if these one answer with respect to happiness, it was very good. There were many answers which were very good. Most of the answers were good. Your appearance, your decency levels, your learning skill, your learning patience, and your listening capacity, everything was brilliant. But these are few things. Work on your DAF and
Yes.
cut short your answers and tell the most important thing first. Clear, dear? That is my feedback.
Okay, Apurva, the good points first. You are well prepared, well dressed, but frankly speaking, if I tell you, you were not fully dressed as you should be.
Yes.
That smile on your face was missing. You seem to be very serious throughout. And as they say, you're never fully dressed till such time as you wear your smile. Right? You smiled in between in a couple of occasions, but that was too far in between. So a smile will work wonders. Don't be very serious about it.
Yes.
Number one.
Definitely.
In the beginning, you gave very short, clear, crisp answers. But in the latter half, you started giving very, very long answers. As just pointed out, your impact point has to be the first point.
Yes.
Because if your impact point is not the first point, you start elaborating, somebody may interject. What your focus is will be lost out. And once the focus is lost out, that means there is a little bit of misunderstanding between the interviewee and the interviewer. So that you will lose out in that case. So make your impact point first. जिसे कहते हैं हिंदी में भूमिका बांधने की कोशिश मत करो. Come to the point straight.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes.
Couple of times I realized you were answering the question even without listening to the full question. There were 3 instances today, or rather I would say 4 instances, wherein you went on a tangent. The question asked was different, and the answers that you started giving were different. It happened once with me, once with Mr. Kirtankar Roy, and twice with Sagar Roy. So listen to the full question and as short answer as possible. Be very. In one instance, I still remember, Sagar asked you a question and he gave 2 parts to it. And you wonderfully, beautifully answered the first question, the first part first, the second part second, very shortly and in a beautiful manner. That is how it should have been done for all the instances. Remember that, please. There were some answers which you answered beautifully. Leadership lessons learned from being a school prefect, highways and highways, bias towards Northeast, questions on cooking. You answered them beautifully. It was wonderful, very nice. But the few questions in which you misunderstood and answered, thoda sa wahan pe question mark. Your pitch of the voice pitch of the voice thoda sa try and increase it little higher, a
Sure,
little
sir.
higher. I don't know whether I had some connectivity problems or whether your pitch was really low, but in some instances I thought I could not really catch on the words. You know, when you were answering, kahin na kahin pe, I felt as if your pitch was falling at times. So that will require to be slightly raised. Then आपका head movement. I could see your hand movements, of course, but the head movement, the head was always inclined towards the left or maybe towards your right. Let your head be erect, straight and erect. Let the head not be inclined towards the side. It gives a feeling of indifference, right? Then you were very polite. Whenever an input was given to you, you always thanked the panelists. Wonderful, very nice. Even when you wanted to drink water, you took permission for that. But I would have appreciated if you had drunk from a glass and not from a bottle.
Yes, sir.
No, you would have been well prepared if you had taken a sip from a glass, because you are appearing for it may be a mock interview, but this is an interview. While gulping from a bottle, there's every possibility of choking. So
Yes.
that could have been avoided. Otherwise, overall, I would say you have the capability of doing much, much, much better. Keep these things in mind. That's all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Apurva. Apurva, good things first. Your answers appeared well structured at many places. Your happiness answer was best among all your answers. You appeared decent and polite, and your dressing was wonderful. Now, as this is a critical analysis, कुछ critical point आपको बताए जाएंगे. सबसे पहला point, अपूर्वा, मुझे पर्सनली ऐसा लगा जैसे आप बहुत ज्यादा मूव कर रही हैं while answering, and especially while you are answering a difficult question. Was it so? आप उस मूवमेंट के पीछे का रीजन मुझे नहीं पता है, बट वो जो भी हो, यू हैव टू करेक्ट इट. ये तो मॉक इंटरव्यू है, बट व्हेन यू अपेयर फॉर अ फिजिकल इंटरव्यू, आपको मूवमेंट अपना कंट्रोल करना है. इट इज द साइन ऑफ नर्वसनेस. ठीक है.
Sure, sir.
सेकेंड थिंग, आपकी स्माइल बहुत जगह पे मिसिंग थी. जैसे राकेश सर ने बताया, कभी कभी दिख रही थी. सो वो कॉन्स्टेंटली प्रेजेंट होनी चाहिए. अ माइल्ड स्माइल, ठीक है, जो आप अभी कर रही हैं, दैट इज गुड. वो प्रेजेंट होनी चाहिए हमेशा. थर्ड, लीडर वाले आंसर में आपने थोड़ा सा ब्लंडर किया, मुझे ऐसा लगा. पॉलिटिकली एक्टिव लीडर, आपने बहुत जल्दी जल्दी में मैक्रोन को चूज किया. मुझे ऐसा लगा शायद आपको
Yes,
मैक्रोन
sir,
को
I
चूज नहीं
regretted
करना
it.
चाहिए था.
Yes, sir.
हाँ,
I was
तो
thinking
थोड़ा और
about
टाइम ले सकती थी आप, अगर आपने.
I was thinking about Prime Minister
ओके,
of
सो जैसे
India.
आपको रॉय सर ने बताया कि हाँ, दैट वुड हैव बीन वंडरफुल अगर आपने वो बोला होता तो. ठीक है, के जाइए ऐसे क्वेश्चंस के आंसर्स को, या फिर अगर आपको टाइम लेना है, यू कैन टेक योर टाइम. ठीक है, एंड क्वेश्चन को ठीक से सुनिए. आपने बहुत इंस्टांसेस पे क्वेश्चन को आधा अधूरा सुना, बहुत सारे पॉइंट्स आपने मिसअंडरस्टूड किए, एंड देन यू आंसर्ड अकॉर्डिंगली, और उसकी वजह से सारी प्रॉब्लम्स क्रिएट हुई. अगर आपने ठीक से क्वेश्चन सुना होता तो शायद इतने प्रॉब्लम्स ना होते. ठीक है,
Yes.
तो क्वेश्चन को ठीक से सुनिए. लॉन्ग आंसर्स को अवॉइड कीजिए. द रीजन बीइंग, स्पेशली व्हेन यू आर बीइंग पुट इन अ स्ट्रेसफुल सिचुएशन, कोई डिफिकल्ट क्वेश्चन पूछा जाता है आपसे और आप घुमा फिरा के लंबा आंसर देती हैं, तो उससे प्रॉब्लम्स और बढ़ेंगी. आप अपने आंसर्स को जितना शॉर्ट रखेंगे, काउंटर क्वेश्चंस उतने ही कम आएंगे. बट वंस यू स्टार्ट स्ट्रेचिंग योर आंसर्स, तो काउंटर क्वेश्चंस बढ़ जाते हैं और प्रॉब्लम आपके लिए और बढ़ जाएगी. सो कीप योर आंसर्स शॉर्ट एंड क्रिस्प. सी, इन केस ऑफ कम्युनिकेशन में आपको पता ही होगा, एक कम्युनिकेशन का एक पिक्यूलियर फीचर है, होना चाहिए हमेशा, टू कीप अदर पार्टी इंटरेस्टेड इन यू, एंड दैट विल हैपन ओनली व्हेन योर आंसर्स आर शॉर्ट एंड क्रिस्प. ओके, आपके कम्युनिकेशन के आंसर्स कुछ ठीक नहीं लगे मुझे. उसमें आपको इंप्रूवमेंट की जरूरत है, जैसे ऑप्टिकल फाइबर वाला आंसर, 4G 5G कम्युनिकेशन, उसमें आई वाज एक्सपेक्टिंग बिट मोर डिफरेंसेस जो आपने नहीं दिए मुझे, क्योंकि मैंने स्पेसिफिकली आपको बताया था फ्रॉम क्वेश्चन वाज फ्रॉम एनवायरनमेंट एंगल, तो उसमें आप बता सकते थे 5G को लेके जो एक मेजर प्रॉब्लम अभी सामने आ रही है, दैट इज टावर डेंसिटी। आज 4G टावर्स जो हैं दे आर क्वाइट सेपरेटेड फ्रॉम ईच अदर, लेकिन 5G के अंदर बिकॉज ऑफ द नेचर ऑफ द टेक्नोलॉजी टावर का डिस्टेंस 600 मीटर ही रहेगा, तो मतलब टावर की डेंसिटी और बढ़ जाएगी जो अभी है उससे। सो आई वाज एक्सपेक्टिंग दैट डिफरेंस, बट आपने वो डिफरेंस नहीं दिया, तो थोड़ा उसके ऊपर काम करिए आप। लेटर पार्ट ऑफ योर इंटरव्यू, उसमें आप बिट टायर्ड लगी, जैसे आप थकान हो गई है, दैट इज वाई आप फंबल कर रही थी, ठीक है। सो आपको अपनी एनर्जी लेवल जो है वो थ्रू आउट द इंटरव्यू मेंटेन करना है ना। एंड जनरली रिसेंसी बायस होता है अपूर्वा। रिसेंसी बायस का मतलब क्या है कि आपका जो आखिरी वाला पार्ट वाला इंटरव्यू होता है ना, दैट प्लेज अ मेजर रोल इन योर मार्किंग हमेशा, ठीक है। सो इसीलिए अपनी एंडिंग तो काफी अच्छी होनी चाहिए, तो आपको अपनी एनर्जी लेवल मेंटेन करना है थ्रू आउट द इंटरव्यू, सो थिंक ऑन दैट। और आप क्वेश्चन को पूरा सुनिए। मेट्रो के केस में आई वाज कैटेगोरिकली ट्राइंग टू हाईलाइट इन मेट्रो क्वेश्चन कि आपको ये, आई वाज एक्सपेक्टिंग एन आंसर लाइक कि शॉर्ट रन में हम वुमेन सेफ्टी कर रहे हैं, वुमेन एम्पावरमेंट भी हो रहा है, बट इन द लॉन्गर रन दिस इज नॉट अ सॉल्यूशन। हम सब कुछ मेल के लिए अलग और वुमेन के लिए अलग नहीं कर सकते। अलग स्कूल्स, अलग ट्रांसपोर्ट सिस्टम्स, अलग कम्युनिटी सेंटर्स, सब कुछ अलग अलग नहीं कर सकते। हमें एक तरीका निकालना पड़ेगा टू क्रिएट द बैलेंस, ठीक है ना। तो आई वाज एक्सपेक्टिंग दैट काइंड ऑफ आंसर, लेकिन आपने वो नहीं दिया। सो हमेशा आप क्वेश्चन को ठीक से सुनेंगे तो यू कैन प्रेडिक्ट कि जो इंटरव्यूअर है वो क्या सुनना चाहता है। उस क्वेश्चन में ही कहीं ना कहीं हिंट छुपी हुई होती, तो आपको उस चीज को पकड़ना है एंड देन यू आंसर। सो लिसन टू क्वेश्चन केयरफुली, ठीक है अपूर्वा। अगर आप इन फ्लॉस पे काम करती हैं अपूर्वा, तो इजीली 30+ मार्क्स आपके बढ़ जाएंगे, 30+, एंड दैट विल प्ले अ मेजर रोल, यू नो दैट, ठीक है। रॉय सर।
थैंक यू।
पूर्वा, क्या आप वैसे ही अपने जो लाइफ है उसमें धीरे बोलती हैं, या आज आप वैसे थोड़ा ज्यादा धीरे थी?
Sir, I speak at this pace only and at this
Okay.
pitch only. I would try to increase the pitch.
हम्म। कई बार क्या हो रहा था पूर्वा, that you are starting the sentence at a higher pitch, but by the time you are ending the sentence, you were eating some of the words
Okay.
at the fag end of the sentence. So that creates a kind of confusion. Maybe the network was responsible for it. I do not blame you solely for that, but you should ensure that the entire statement is very clear and loud.
Yes.
Clear, dear? So based totally on this performance and factoring in your potential also, we feel that if you give an interview of this nature, you will end up somewhere in the territory of 165 to 170. Clear, dear? But if you work on your DAF related questions, cut down your length of your answers and all the flaws that have been highlighted, you are a student who will cross 200. Do you understand that, dear? See,
Yes.
there are few advantages of that you should know that you have already. First, you are very young. This is your second attempt, and you are a female candidate. And if you read the notification of UPSC, it says what? That we encourage the participation of women in administration. Very few women reach to this stage. You are already in, unless you commit some blunder in the interview hall. But your performance in the interview, your marks in the interview will decide what rank will you get. And your rank will decide what service will you get. You understand that, dear? So even 30 marks difference can be difference between an IS and an IRS in the interviews. Do you understand that, dear? So you must work on these aspects. If there is any, or if there are any particular questions which you want to ask, you can go on.
So, for example, in that leader, politically active leader, can we decline to answer because I'm not very much interested in politics in that
No,
relation,
you
and
cannot. You
we
cannot,
should
because
answer.
that's an opinion-based question there. You must have some admiration. But there is nobody, this question is not targeted towards hero worshipping. You can say that there is one leader whom I admire in politics, that you have to think about it. From social sphere, from political sphere, from economic sphere, it can be any sphere. Today, suppose the question was related to any political leader. There can be something like any social leader or any leader from the Indian national movement. So you must have an answer ready for that. And generally, these things, see, in ethics, have you learned about the foundational values of civil services? In that, one value is non-partisanship.
Hmm.
And that is what is being checked throughout the interview. Because if you are politically inclined, then definitely you are not going to serve the country very appropriate. You have to be politically neutral,
Yes, sir.
apolitical. Yeah. So you must have. Anything else?
So, so what else, matlab, what else should I do in terms of to get more better marks in the interview?
Take your DAF. Google every word of your DAF. Like if suppose somebody has a roll number and the roll number goes like 2611, so there can be a question with respect to 2611. Do you understand that? So right from your name, your surname, everything, every word that you have incorporated in the DAF, you must Google it completely and you should read inside out about it. Clear? That's the first thing. Second thing is you must revise your engineering core concepts, especially that which you have mentioned in the DAF again.
Yes.
Because say this optical fiber cable question did not come out of the blue. You give me the hint. Do you understand that? So I just picked up on your hint that you provided through the DAF. So revise your concepts and revise your concepts of geography as well. Why? Because GS is imposed over you, but geography is chosen by you. That's your optional. It was optional. Do you understand that? And you chose geography. And you could not relate the relationship or the what were the common ideas or any parallels between Ratzel and Malthus. Is Ratzel a determinist?
Sir, we cannot say in that sense of determinism. It was different from Malthus' idea. It was more inclined from the Darwin's idea of how.
No. That's one aspect of Frederick Ratzel. But was Ratzel a possibilist? Did he give a leading role to nature or to man?
Sir, in terms of state, he gave role to man.
Huh. But was there some reflection of deterministic thoughts? And there is some determinism, like he's talking about political determinism, social determinism.
Yes, sir.
Determinism is not only environmental determinism there.
But that I tried to mention, but I said that at the end. I should have said at the beginning itself.
That's what I'm saying. That's why you revise these concepts of geography. Obviously, you know about it. That's how you cleared the mains examination. There is no doubt about it. But अभी आपने दिया है mains, और यहीं पे अगर गड़बड़ होगा तो it does not go very well, dear. You understand that? Anything else?
No, sir.
Okay. All the best, Apurva. And there is great likelihood that you will crack the examination this way.
Thank you, sir.
All the best, Apurva.
Thank you, sir.
All the very best, Apurva.
Thank you, sir.